One Zambia, one nation. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the main news at 18 hours on TV2. To present it, Mutukwa Moya. The headlines. Katondo Clinic in Kabwe Central Constituency has been closed after irate residents protested against the conduct of a named nurse. Still in the news, Grain Traders Association of Zambia, GTAZ, who will offload 240,000 metric tons of maize grain to FRA to reduce the prices of mealie meal. In sports, the 31st edition of the Africa Cup of Nations has kicked off, with hosts Gabon playing debutants Guinea-Bissau. Thank you so much for joining us. Katondo Clinic in Kabwe Central Constituency has been closed after irate residents protested against the conduct of a named nurse. The residents protested after a woman gave birth outside the clinic few minutes after she was asked to go back home by a nurse. TV2 Sector Simfukwe reports from Kabwe that quick action by the Zambia Police Service prevented the irate residents from destroying the clinic and a police station. The residents blocked the roads and bent tires as they protested. And a Member of Parliament, Tutu Angulube, who rushed to the area at midnight, assured the people that their concern will be addressed by government. Meanwhile, 21 people have been arrested in connection to the riots that happened yesterday in Kabwe. Central Province Police Commissioner Lombe Kamukoshi says calm has however returned to the area and officers are on standby to deal with any situation. She was speaking when Mr. Ngulube paid a courtesy call on her at her office. And the Minister of Health, Chitalu Chilufya, confirmed receiving a report over the matter. Dr. Chilufya said the nurse has since been charged for professional misconduct. He warned that government will not condone acts of professional misconduct at any level in the provision of quality health care services. The Health Minister said the clinic has been closed while the team at the facility has been changed.
Investigating the incident, and a comprehensive report shall be issued by the Minister of Health spokesperson. However, I would like to state that the incident was regrettable and was unfortunate, and we would like to sincerely apologize to the mother, the family, and the community. And in the same vein, would like to urge the public not to take the law in their own hands. Would like to urge the public to consider themselves as partners in the provision of health services.
Government says the Grain Traders Association of Zambia, GTAZ, will offload 240,000 metric tons of maize grain to the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, to reduce the prices of mealie meal in the country. Minister of Agriculture, Dora Selia, says the agreement between government and the association follows people's concerns on the high mealie meal prices across the country. Ms. Selia has told ZNBC News in an interview that the decision to offload the maize grain for onward selling to the millers was reached after a meeting with the FRA and the GTAZ on January 10. Ms. Leah has assured that the mealie meal prices are expected to reduce to 85 kwacha before May this year. And GTAZ Chief Executive Officer Chambule Nisimwinga says his association will take up the responsibility to offload 80% of the maize grain to FRA.
Traders Association who've shown such patriotism and have come to the table and offered about 240,000 metric tons of uncommitted grain to the FRA for onward sale to the millers. Now, what is very different about this deal this time round is that in the past, government would subsidize the millers heavily, but this time around, government will only subsidize the millers for onward passing on of that benefit to the consumers at only 20%, and that is because Grain Traders Association have come to the table and have been able to work out a deal with government and the Millers Association of Zambia.
We had to be seen as being responsible to the cry of people, so we sat down with the millers and came up with a good deal which does not pressure on government. So this deal is we'll take up 80% of responsibility, while government just takes up 20%. And there's no cash exchange. This is going to be just commodity exchange. So meaning the prices of mealie meal, on average, they should be 85 kwacha on average, ex-factory.
The Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, says there is an estimated 40% damage of the hectares of maize crops affected by the armyworms. DMMU National Coordinator Patrick Kangwa, however, says the unit has dispatched 87,000 litres of pesticides, of which 71,000 litres have been sprayed in the affected maize fields. Mr. Kangwa says the number of maize fields has increased from the 115 hectares to 172 hectares of affected maize fields. Mr. Kangwa disclosed during a media briefing that all the provinces in the country have reported the invasion of armyworms and that there are interventions put in place. The DMMU National Coordinator, however, said that Central, Kabwe and Lusaka have remained stable in the fight against armyworms. Meanwhile, Mr. Kangwa added that the unit is having dialogue with Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Malawi to avoid cross-border outbreaks. Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has urged the correctional services in the country to effectively contribute to the country's food security. Mr. Kampyongo says the correctional facilities should utilize their farming projects to embark on diversifying the agriculture sector. He said this during his tour of the joint farm project between Zambia and Egypt under the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Project that has sprung in Chilanga district. This project is a joint venture between Zambia and Egypt under the Ministry of Home Affairs. This is why the Minister of Home Affairs, Stephen Kampyongo, has visited the joint farming project to familiarize himself with the operations.
GPS will take this.
We will take this one to food lovers and fish market. For treatment is a officer and project and elements, the prisoner. This one, and each year at least treatment 200 elements and 5 or 6 officers.
The project involves officers and inmates.
We also train prisoners on how to plant, apply fertilizer, harvest, and how to treat the crop. Yes, so we are actually training prisoners on farming, not only in farming but also with livestock.
Mr. Kampyongo wants the correctional service to increase its participation in contributing to the country's food security.
So we are impressed that at the time when we are calling for diversification in the agricultural sector, we are participating actively through the correctional service. And so this venture is really something that we are going to learn from, because we have got other farming projects that the correction service is embarking on.
The Minister of Home Affairs also toured various construction sites to check on the progress.
In June, I'll be able to look and compare with your schedule and the works on the ground.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think this span for the boundary wall, that height, this is I think a little bit of.
Thank you so much.
Ruth Mwale, ZNBC News, Chilanga.
5,000 bags of mealie meal have been discovered in an abandoned garage in Mufulira, and 4 trucks loaded with 25 kg bags of mealie meal have also been discovered in the same garage. The mealie meal, which is suspected to be from Kabwe, Ndola, Kitwe and Lusaka, is believed to have been destined for smuggling into Congo DR. District Commissioner for Mufulira, Mrs. Hilda Kawesha, disclosed this to Minister of Community Development and Social Welfare, Emerin Kabanshi, when she paid a courtesy call on her in Mufulira yesterday. And Mrs. Kabanshi has described the smuggling activity in the border town of Mufulira as retrogressive. She said government is committed to restoring the dignity of the poor by breaking the chain of poverty, and will this year commit 500 million kwacha to transforming lives of the less privileged. We take a break, and still to come in the news. Over 200 pupils failed to write examinations last year due to early marriages and teen pregnancies, and the church urged to continue helping the needy in society. Plus other news, stay tuned. We continue with the news. 282 grade 7 and 9 pupils failed to write their examinations last year after dropping out of school due to early marriages and teen pregnancies. Samfia District Education Board Secretary Daniel Mutaba confirmed this when Minister of General Education Dennis Wanchinga paid a courtesy call on him at his office. Mr. Mutaba also cited economic challenges as other reasons that lead to pupils to stop school in the area. Meanwhile, two traditional leaders have proposed to government to build more boarding than day secondary schools in rural areas to curb issues of teen pregnancies. Senior Chief Mwewa and Chief Mwansakombe said this when Minister of General Education Dennis Wanchinga visited them at their respective palaces in Samfya district. Kanyama Member of Parliament Elizabeth Piri says she is dedicated to ensure that her constituency does not have an outbreak of cholera this rainy season. Ms. Piri says she will ensure that any uncollected garbage is collected to reduce on the breeding of bacteria. The MP was speaking when she visited Soweto Market in Lusaka. Lufola Nkowani has more in this report.
It is here where both fresh and dry supplies come from. But the state of this market is very unhealthy, especially now that the rains are here. During the last rain season, Kanyama compound was one of the communities that was badly hit with cholera. And the traders here want the market improved.
Tulikuwa tobwafyo bukalamba sana echa tulelomba kwela mtu wa misheko kuno ba government
ati mavuta ya minitiri nayo kuno ma places ya minitiri sako si yali bwino bantu banaleka na kungena chifuka cha vimanzi vamene viliko olo kununka
empati boma itwa mizile nkoni itike konzero chifuka kuno kwa ititsenzera ndiye kwamene kutokaza kuteza abantu.
This is a working place and is a business place. So as marketeers, we're asking the government to help us by renovating this market.
Kanyama Member of Parliament Elizabeth Piri visited the market. She says her office will not leave anything to chance in order to prevent any possible cholera outbreak.
I didn't know why Kanyama used to have cholera. But this year, I don't want Kanyama to experience cholera by bringing the interventions that can stop the germs of cholera to breed. Because they are breeding from the sewer that is coming out from the markets. Yes. You can see the food is picked from a dirty environment. Yes. So I'm pleading to Lusaka City Council that let them bring the equipment here because this is disaster. Yeah.
Both the traders and residents of Kanyama constituency cannot wait for such a time that the environment within Soweto Market is improved. More especially because the foods that are sold here end up in several houses within the city. Lufola Nkowani, TV2 News in Lusaka.
A Lusaka-based clergyman has called on the church in the country to continue helping the needy in society. Pastor Jato Piri says the church must supplement government's efforts in serving the people. He said this when Bread of Life Church International donated blankets and bedside chairs to Matero First Level Hospital in Lusaka's Matero Township today. Here is a report.
This is the upgraded Matero First Level Hospital in Lusaka's Matero Township. The hospital is now able to handle many health cases that in the past would be referred to the University Teaching Hospital. And in order to supplement government's efforts to deliver quality health services to the community, Bread of Life International has donated 24 bedside chairs and 24 blankets to the surgical wards. Bread of Life representative Pastor Jato Piri says it is the church's social responsibility to help the needy.
Therefore, as the Bread of Life Church International under Bishop Imakando, we take it upon ourselves to partner with the government of His Excellency the President, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, and we believe it is our social responsibility to participate in what the government is striving in uplifting the living standards of the citizens by providing quality and affordable health care. Church International, this is not our first time and this is not our last time, even to partner with you people here.
Meanwhile, hospital matron Evelyn Tembo says the donation will help improve service delivery at the hospital.
I've witnessed today is a very important event to us as health workers of Matero Level 1 Hospital. It's a matter of public knowledge, ladies and gentlemen, that Matero Level 1 Hospital has a very big catchment area and was just recently elevated to first level hospital. It is facing a lot of challenges, one of them being having insufficient chairs for bedsiders as well as members of staff. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the community of Matero, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to Bread of Life in Church International for recognizing our efforts in providing comfort to our patients and maintaining the health standards of the communities in which we serve.
And Area Councillor Elijah Makungu is thankful and has called on other churches and institutions to emulate the gesture.
Appealing to all stakeholders in our constituency. You know, Matero constituency is a wide constituency, it's too vast. There isn't only Bread of Life, there are many companies, there are many businessmen. To emulate what Bread of Life has done, there is no help that is too big or too small. We are ready to welcome even one bed sheet, because one day or the other it could be me, you, or any of us that could use that bed sheet when we come.
The provision of quality health care requires concentrated efforts from all stakeholders. Leandro Hamala, TV2 News in Lusaka.
Stakeholders in the transport sector on the Copper Belt have argued that the statutory instrument SI, which banned the movement of public service vehicles after 21 hours, is not an effective safety measure. The stakeholders, who include contractors, bus owners, and a workers' union, say there is no evidence that accidents happen more frequent at night. They were speaking at a public meeting on the impact of the statutory instrument in Kitwe. Take a look in this report.
At night, due to the ban of public service vehicles from traveling after 21 hours. This follows the implementation of statutory instrument, which seeks to reduce road accidents at night. However, stakeholders on the Copper Belt feel the statutory instrument was hurriedly enforced. According to those in small-scale business sector, darkness does not contribute to the increase in road accidents.
Look at the shoulders, they are lacking on that road. Even if you were to drive during the day, it's still a hazard. So as long as that hazard is there, whether you are driving at night or during the day, accidents are prone to happen on that road.
Following this ban, reports of public taxis transporting people at night have increased. At Kitwe's KMB bus station, bus owners have reported seeing Toyota Noah vehicles ferrying people from Kitwe to other towns.
Even a criminal can pick passengers at will and pass through these roadblocks. That's what has been happening. So that gives a risk. So that promotes also irregularities, as you cannot stop people traveling at night. That is the truth. The cross-border people, the business people, the people are attending to urgent matters. You cannot stop them. Now they are using unregistered motor vehicles like Noah's cars, like here in the Copper Belt. 2, no security and safety.
For bus owners, the ban on nighttime bus services have affected their schedules, forcing them to rely on their operations.
I'll speak on behalf of transporters. Most transporters have actually changed their timetables in the sense that they leave much earlier in the morning. As in, before we would have like buses that will start off from 6 a.m. But you find that now you have a first bus that leaves at 5 because it will be already light. And then on long distances, we've actually set like plans where we have certain towns where we say, okay, we can travel a certain distance in so many hours. So we have to stop by, let's say, if we're going to Livingstone, to Shesheke, we park by Livingstone, where their facilities and so forth.
Road Transport and Safety Agency says the sittings are ongoing.
The response has been very good. We had a very good attendance yesterday. Most of the stakeholders came in yesterday. Today, yes, the chambers are empty. My assumption is that most of the people came on the first day. So far, I would say we have met the objective of implementing the statutory instrument.
A 17-year-old boy of Lusaka's Mississippi compound has gone missing. Chanda Mwila went missing on Friday in Mississippi compound. Chanda was last seen wearing a red hood, red t-shirt and black trousers. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Chanda can contact the family on 0975-810-339 or 0973-271-070 or report to the nearest police station. We go for our final break. After that, 27th Africa-France Summit opens in Bamako, Mali, as the 31st edition of the Africa Cup of Nations kicks off in Gabon. Keep watching TV. Of the news. The 27th Africa-France Summit has opened in Bamako, Mali, with French President Francois Hollande pledging to fight terrorism, radicalism and insurgency in Africa. President Hollande, who has joined over 30 African leaders and representatives, says his government is ready to support African countries in their quest to achieve economic emancipation. He was speaking during the official opening of the summit, where President Edgar Lungu is being represented by Foreign Affairs Minister Harry Kalaba. Malian President Ibrahim Keita, whose northern part of the country is experiencing instability, said terror groups such as Boko Haram have continued to pose a danger, especially to West Africa. And speaking to ZNBC News in Bamako upon arrival, Mr. Kalaba said President Lungu could not join his counterparts for the summit because of other equally important national duties. Mr. Kalaba says Zambia is participating in the summit because of the strategic and important role France plays in Africa's economy, peace and security.
When the chef d'État du gouvernement d'Afrique, leurs excellences.
The Bamako summit is somehow giving us that alternative. It's giving us that initiative, especially with the partnership with France. As you know, France has been playing a very pivotal role, especially in assisting the African Union in terms of security. So it becomes a good opportunity for us to review progress on how we are doing. Remember that Zambia is a member of the Peace and Security Council, and so we are taking a lot of interest in matters that are pertaining to the continent being together rather than being divided.
In sports news, the 31st edition of the Africa Cup of Nations has kicked off with hosts Gabon playing debutants Guinea-Bissau. 2012 champions Zambia are not part of this year's edition after they failed to qualify from Group E, which was won by Guinea-Bissau. Gabon welcomes back the cream of African football only 5 years after it co-hosted the Nations Cup with Equatorial Guinea. The country was awarded the finals by the Confederation of African Football as replacement for Libya. This year's edition has 32 matches over 23 days, featuring 16 teams, and will end on 5 February with the winning finalists lifting the Italian-made trophy and taking home $4 million. We've come to the end of the main news at 18 hours on TV2, but before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. Katondo Clinic in Kabwe Central Constituency has been closed after irate residents protested against the conduct of a named nurse. The residents protested after a woman gave birth outside the clinic few minutes after she was asked to go back home by a nurse. Government says the Grain Traders Association of Zambia, GTAZ, will offload 240,000 metric tons of maize grain to the Food Reserve Agency, FRA, to reduce the prices of mealie meal in the country. Minister of Agriculture, Dora Celia, says the agreement between government and the association follows people's concerns on the high mealie meal prices across the country. Finally, the 31st edition of the Africa Cup of Nations has kicked off with hosts Gabon playing debutants Guinea-Bissau. 2012 champions Zambia are not part of this year's edition after they failed to qualify from Group E, which was won by Guinea-Bissau. We end the news right here, but you can still join us if you can for another detailed bulletin at 20 hours. This is Mutok Wamoya. Good evening.